Well, good evening, everyone. After some technical difficulties, we have, it looks like two-thirds of the issues solved. So anybody coming in by Zoom, we can't see you. And I believe that's just Mr. Castleman and Mr. Hagerman, but we will be able to hear those coming in by Zoom. And I'm assuming they can hear us. I see Bob's nodding his head, so that's good. So I will call this meeting to order at 6:36 p.m. by recognizing the traditional keepers of this land and specifically our neighbors of the Alderville First Nation with a formal territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the municipality of Brighton is located on the Mississauga-Anishinaabe territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississauga. The Council of the Municipality of Brighton respectfully acknowledges that the Mississauga nations are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. I will also advise that the municipality continues to fly the flag of the Ukraine at the Municipal Center as an expression of the community's solidarity with the Ukrainian people. As part of that solidarity and as a welcoming and inclusive community, I highlight our unwavering support for the Ukraine, the Ukrainian people, and for democratically elected sovereign governments around the world. Brighton, our council, and our citizens are deeply concerned about the humanitarian toll the invasion will take on the Ukraine and its citizens. With almost all public health protocols lifted, we are able to have members of the public join us in the gallery. If you are able to join us, I think we only have 2 people present today. Please remember to physically distance if you can and be mindful of other people's concerns as it relates to the ongoing pandemic. We will continue to use various formats for meeting participation with some participants attending virtually. We will also continue to invite the public to join us by viewing this meeting live on the Municipality of Brighton YouTube channel. And we'll move into the meeting with a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Connect, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. The council approved the April 4th, 2022 council agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. Members of council, do you have any declarations of pecuniary interest? And if so, please state the general nature thereof. And there are none noted. Are there any announcements this evening? And there are none noted. And that takes us to the adoption of the minutes, with the first motion being moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Bateman. The council adopt the March 3rd, 2022 special council meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. And a motion moved by Councillor LeBlanc, seconded by Deputy Mayor Connect, that council approve the March 21st, 2022 council meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. And a motion moved by Councillor Bateman, seconded by Councillor Tadman, that council adopt the March 22nd, 2022 special council meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. We have no statutory public meeting this evening, which brings us to delegations. The first and only delegation is from Luke Rightmyer concerning a project for Mason Galambos and family. Luke?
My name is Luke Rightmyer.
You can sit if you want, Luke. And speak in the microphone if you will.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Luke Rightmyer. I'm a small construction company in Brighton. I'm heading a community project for a family in need. We've been doing some fundraising for about 1.5 years now and getting very close to our goal. I've spoke to trades and suppliers in our town, got an excellent response from them. And I thought I would give you guys the opportunity to come forth and be a part of our team. My request is that we can waive the building permit fees of an 872 square foot addition on Alice Street for Mason and his family.
Thanks, Luke. Do you want to provide any background information about Mason without getting into
Yep.
too much personal
Yep.
detail? But I think the community probably would like to hear.
So Mason is, his father's my cousin. And when he was born, he was diagnosed with Allen Herndon Dudley syndrome, which is a very rare disorder that affects his muscle tone. He doesn't gain any development of muscle, which he will be rendered more or less paralyzed for his entire life. They purchased a 2-story semi-detached home on Alice Street the week he was born, without knowing that accessibility was going to be a huge factor in their life. So with this addition, putting onto the removing their garage and putting an addition onto their home, we can get all of their needs on one floor.
Thanks, Luke. So this is to provide accessible access for Mason and for the family to help Mason as he grows.
As he grows, correct?
Yeah,
Yep.
well, thank you for that. So we have received your correspondence. We will be dealing with your request in correspondence later. Under our procedural bylaw, we can't make a decision during delegations, but we will make that decision during correspondence later in the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
I will open the floor to council if they have any questions, but first I'll read the motion. Moved by Councillor Tadman, seconded by Councillor Bateman, that council receive the delegation from Luke Rightmyer. Members of council, do you have any questions of the delegate? Councillor Anderson?
I think it's wonderful. I saw the story well in advance of this, but I think your request is quite reasonable for the need. I have one question, and you would know, being the builder, what would the building fee be approximately for this?
On my tally, it was $1,573.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor LeBlanc?
Thank you very much for coming here, doing the presentation. I've been working with the organization for development and getting funds for the last year and a half. And I talked with I think his father-in-law and them about building fees. They brought this up, and I talked to Mr. Walsh not too long ago, and that's why you're here giving this presentation.
Exactly.
Because I think it's very well deserved to do something like this at this time for a child in need.
Yep.
That's going to be, and we have accessibility committees and everything. And this would give them the full chance for ambulances, nurses, and wheelchair access if you have to go to the back and everything. It gives them the full access. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Tadman?
I think that this isn't the first time we've had a request like this, but I think this is an honorable way of supporting especially our children that do have disabilities. And if there's anything that you need extra and you'd like to reach out to we have a committee, accessibility committee, and a couple of people on there are very well trained in helping children like Mason. So
I appreciate that.
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, thank you, Luke. I'll call the vote and then we'll deal with the request in correspondence. Appreciate you
you.
coming tonight. Appreciate it. All those in favor of the motion? There being none opposed, that motion is carried. Madam Clerk, are you aware of any citizens' comment being presented this evening? Are you aware of anyone coming in through Zoom? Thank you. That takes us to staff reports. Our first report is the 2021 Council and Committee Remuneration Report. Director Whitfield, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
Actually, I do. There was one small error on the spreadsheet for the committee remuneration, and that was under economic development, and Jim Kovacs, who's actually a representative for Brighton at the Quinte Economic Development Committee and not on our economic development committee here.
Thank you for that. I have a motion moved by Councillor Bateman, seconded by Councillor Tadman, that council received the 2021 Council and Committee Remuneration Report as information. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. Next report is the High Water Bill Adjustment Policy Report. Director Whitfield, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. When we brought this forward a couple of weeks ago, it was due to council's request for such a policy. Staff don't necessarily recommend the policy, but we brought it forward at council's request.
Thank you for that. I have a motion moved by Councillor Tadman, seconded by Councillor Bateman, that council approve the high water bill adjustment policy report and policy. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? The motion's carried. Next report is the election sign bylaw report. Madam Clerk, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
No, I do not.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor LeBlanc, seconded by Deputy Mayor Connect, that council receive the staff report regarding a standalone election sign bylaw, and further that the election sign bylaw as outlined in the staff report be approved. Is there any discussion? Councillor LeBlanc?
I thank you to the clerk. Thank you for all the amendments that have been made. But I still see one is the 30-day signs. And what it is that I'd like to see it extended to 60 days to give people more of a chance for recognition, new people and stuff coming out. And I got the drawings on the other ones, and I agree with the drawings. And I see where you made the amendment that you can be in that infringement as long as the sign is no bigger than 3 feet, 3 feet by 3 feet. So I agree with those, but I still have an issue with only allowing 30 days for putting signs in, because that would bring us to the 24th of September. I would just like to go to the 1st of September or the 24th of August. Because in my first year of running, when I ran, I put my signs out on the 14th of August, and some signs were there before mine. But I looked at all the other neighborhoods that were there, but if all the municipalities are adopting 30 to the 60, the thing is, it makes a big difference. It makes a big issue for new people to be recognized, because people only have 30 days to see their signs and recognize them. And we're going to be going and knocking on doors. So what do? You give somebody a sign and say, you can't put it up till the 24th of September. Right. So those are some of the things, the key issue that I see. I see it. That's the only issue I see with the whole bylaw.
Well, this is your motion. So are you recommending that we pass it as amended and amend it to read
30 days to September 1st.
the 1st of September?
For September, yes.
That wouldn't be an issue if we amended the bylaw to read the 1st of September?
No, it's been the norm with every other municipality that it's 30 days.
Understood. Deputy Mayor Connect, you're the seconder on this. Would you agree to that amendment, or would you withdraw your name from?
I prefer to just keep it at 30 days if that's what everyone's doing.
Councillor LeBlanc, you are asking for an amendment. This is your motion. You are asking
Yes.
for that amendment.
Asking for amendment, yes.
Deputy Mayor, I assume you're removing your name as the seconder. Thank you. Is there a seconder to the motion? Councillor Tadman? I've just written, Madam Clerk, as amended to permit signs from September 1st. Until, what is it, until 4 days after the election?
Yes.
3 or 4 days?
4.
4. Councillor LeBlanc, as the mover, I've written as amended to permit signs from September 1st until 4 days after the election. All right, as the seconder, Councillor Tadman, you're okay with that?
Sure, I would prefer no signs at all, but I do think new people need to have a chance to have them put out, and I'd like to see it on the floor to see the vote.
Sorry?
I seconded it because I'd like to
Right.
see it on the floor.
Thank you. Anything further from members of council? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. With regard to the bylaw itself, would you rather have an opportunity to amend it and bring it back?
No, that's okay.
We'll pass it as amended.
As amended.
Thank you. That brings us to restricted acts of council, lame duck periods. Madam Clerk, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
No, I do not.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Bateman. The council received the Council Restricted Act, most commonly known as the lame duck period staff report, and that the municipal clerk be directed to prepare the necessary bylaw prior to nomination day, delegating authority to the chief administrative officer from August 19th, 2022 to November 15th, 2022, to be the financial authority for expenditures outside the current budget exceeding the $50,000 and or the disposition of any real or personal property of the municipality which has a value exceeding $50,000 at the time of disposal. And further, that the bylaw shall come into force only in the event when determined by the municipal clerk with certainty that less than 75% of the current members of council will be returning to sit on the new council after nomination day of the 2022 municipal election. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion's carried. We have no notices of motions, no motions, and we have nothing listed under unfinished business, which brings us to bylaws. Our first bylaw is moved by Deputy Mayor Connect, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. The council gives a bylaw first, second, and third reading and finally passes on this date, being a bylaw to regulate the place and use of election signs within the municipality of Brighton. Is there any discussion? As amended, pardon me. I've added as amended, Deputy Mayor. Is that? You okay with that as a friendly amendment?
That's fine. I don't have to vote in favor of it.
Pardon me?
Because my name's on it, I don't have to vote in favor of it.
You're the mover though, and I'm amending your motion. That's why I'm asking. Thank you. Councillor LeBlanc is the seconder. Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Next bylaw is the agreement to provide medical oversight services. It's moved by Councillor LeBlanc, seconded by Deputy Mayor Connect. The council gives a bylaw its first, second, and third reading and finally passes on this date. Being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the chief administrative officer to execute an agreement to provide medical oversight services to the Brighton Fire Department by Lake Ridge Health for a period of January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2024. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. That brings us to reports of advisory committees of council, reports, minutes, and council reports. The first being our Apple Fest Advisory Committee with a motion moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Bateman. The council received the September 15th and September 21st, 2021 Apple Fest Advisory Committee meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. And the second is our Community Events Advisory Committee minutes, moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Bateman. Pardon me. The council received the February 8th, 2022 Community Events Advisory Committee meeting minutes as presented, and the council approved an additional $2,000 being added to the committee's budget to assist with funding additional music in the park in June. Is there any discussion? Councillor Rowley.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to explain that a little bit, this year we have our committee has decided that we would like to kind of extend our whole Concerts in the Park series, seeing how we haven't done anything for the last couple of years. So we're beginning in April or in June this time, instead of usually we start the end of June and July. So bands have been booked or tentatively booked based on the extra dollars, but it's basically we'd like to get the community out a little sooner and hopefully enjoy the music a little longer this year.
Thank you for that. I think it's a good idea. Councillor Anderson. No, you're good.
Thanks for the explanation.
Thank you. Director Whitfield, where would we draw the funds for this?
So the funds could be drawn from the contingency reserve because that's where their surplus went in the prior years.
And do you recommend that we include that in the motion?
Yes, we'd have to transfer from reserve.
Councillor Anderson, as the mover, I've added in further that funds be drawn from the contingency reserve. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Bateman as a seconder. Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. That brings us to reports and minutes of statutory committees, boards, and external agencies, the first being the Codrington Community Association. The motion moved by Councillor LeBlanc, seconded by Deputy Mayor Connect. The council received the minutes from the Codrington Community Association for the year 2021. Is there any discussion? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. And the next is the library board minutes moved by Deputy Mayor Connect, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. The council received the February 23rd, 2022 Brighton Public Library Board meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Councillor Rowley.
I should have, not to do with the minutes. Is it okay to make it a quick announcement because we're talking library?
I'll allow it.
I'm sorry. This Wednesday, the Digital Archives Group are, along with the library, are having a great display regarding school years in Brighton. I think it goes back quite a long ways, probably before Councillor Tadman went to school. So, anyway, I did want to kind of plug that for both the digital archives and the library, that if anyone has time to stop by, I think they're going to have a good presentation, a good display there.
Councillor Tadman.
I doubt if Councillor Rowley will be in those pictures because my memory is that she was expelled from school.
Any further discussion on the motion now? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. That takes us to correspondence, direction items, endorsements, and communications. Our first piece of correspondence comes from Luke Rightmyer, a request to waive building fees associated with Mason Galambos. And the motion is moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Bateman. The council support or receive, and I'll need to know which one. Luke Rightmyer's request to waive building fees associated with a project for Mason Galambos and family in relation to a 827 square foot addition. Councillor Anderson, this is your motion. Are we supporting or receiving?
Definitely supporting.
Thank you. Councillor Bateman, you're okay with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Rowley.
Thank you. Are there any other costs involved as far as municipal or costs that this building will require other than inspections and things? I'm just wondering, is this a total bill or are there more costs involved
Director
coming
Walsh.
down the pipe?
There you go.
So it's on. There we
There you
go.
go. I think we're just having a
Yeah, there may be some development charges.
I don't think it's the mic. I think we're having a connection.
Hello. Through the mayor to council. Yeah, there may be, I had a quick side discussion with Luke and he's indicated there are 2 bedrooms that can trigger the development charges bylaw. So my recommendation is that the motion make reference to building permit fees and development charges as may apply. We don't have control over the plumbing fees. That's at the county level, and the county also administers a development charges bylaw. And if development charges are applicable, then it may be at that level as well. But we don't have authority here for that, of course.
So can we amend the motion?
I was just automatically doing that. I'm sorry.
That would be great. Can you just add words that we? kind
Yeah,
of-
so I've added request to waive building fees and development charges and other fees that may apply.
That would be good wording, Mayor. Thank you.
Would that include the county fees then too?
It would not.
So can you go to the county and ask them to waive them?
I'll have a discussion with Mr. Rightmyer if he hangs around after this meeting about that. Okay,
Good, thank you.
so I've added the words and development charges and other fees that may apply. Counselor Anderson, as the mover, you're okay with that?
That's fine. Thank you.
Counselor Bateman as a seconder?
Yes.
Thank you. Anything further from members of council? All those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion is carried. Next piece of correspondence comes from the Brian Todd Memorial Community Fund with a motion moved by Councilor LeBlanc, seconded by Deputy Mayor Connect. The council support the student artwork banner project and direct staff to assist in hanging the banners within Brighton and Smithfield downtown areas. Is there any discussion? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. Smithfield. Downtown Smithfield's happened in place, Councilor Anderson, as you know. The next piece of correspondence comes from the Be a Donor group. What is that called? It's a proclamation for Be a Donor Month. Thank you. Moved by Councilor Tadman, seconded by Councilor Bateman. The council support or receive the request to proclaim the month of April as Be a Donor Month in Ontario. And if supported, I read the rest. So Councilor Tadman as the mover. Thank you. Councilor Bateman as a seconder. Yes, thank you. The Council of the Municipality of Brighton, Council of the Municipality of Brighton proclaim April 2022 as Be a Donor Month in the Municipality of Brighton. And whereas Be a Donor Month supports organ and tissue donor registration, and whereas more than 1,500 people in Ontario are on the wait list, and every 3 days someone dies waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. And whereas in 2021, 299 deceased organ donors gave the gift of life, 1,189 organ transplants were performed in Ontario, and 1,963 tissue donors enhanced the lives of thousands. And whereas 90% of Ontarians support organ and tissue donation, yet only 1 in 3, about 35% of eligible Ontarians have registered their consent to donate. And whereas families almost always consent to donation when there is evidence a loved one registered their decision to donate, but in the absence of a registered donation decision, families consent only half of the time. And whereas everyone is a potential organ and tissue donor, regardless of age, medical condition, or sexual orientation, one organ donor can save up to 8 lives and enhance the lives of up to 75 more through the gift of tissue. Now, therefore, we encourage all citizens to learn more about the organ and tissue donation and transplantation and consider pledging their support to Be a Donor Month by registering as a donor at beadonor.ca. Is there any discussion? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion is carried. That brings us to FYI correspondence with the update from Northumberland County, moved by Councillor Tadman, seconded by Councillor Bateman. That council received the County of Northumberland update for March 28th to April 8th, 2022. Is there any discussion? Councillor Bateman.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question for you. If you could check with the county, I think a couple of weeks ago, I was down at the No Frills gas bar to purchase bag tags. They said they don't have them anymore. So I'm assuming the other service station wouldn't as well. He said that there was a change in policy that the county will no longer deliver them to them. If they want to be a reseller, they have to drive to Coburg to pick them up. So I don't know if that's the same for all of our reseller locations or just gas stations, because that would significantly impact where our citizens can purchase them.
Yeah,
Outside of online and, the municipal building.
I'll check into that. I assume it's all retailers. Yeah. I've made a note. I'll do that later this week. Thank you for that. Anything further on the updates? All those in favor? Being unopposed, that motion's carried. Brings us to question period. If anyone in the gallery has a question with regard to an item that appeared on today's agenda, please come forward. That's you two gentlemen. Madam Clerk, are you aware of anyone joining us by Zoom? No, thank you. Before we proceed in camera, we'll take a 10-minute recess and reconvene at 7:16 p.m.